All right, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Andre. I'm the Executive Director of the Tax Review Board, and we are convening today's hearing. Today is July 19th of 2022. It is Tuesday, and it is approximately 2:05, and we are doing a session on water department. Please be aware that this is a public hearing, and it is being recorded. Because the meeting is public, participants and viewers have no expectation of privacy. By continuing to be in the meeting, you are consenting to being recorded. The board has quorum today with Nancy Cameradiner as chair, Paula Weiss, and George Matthews as well. So at this time, I'd like to give the virtual mic to Nancy. Nancy, please begin.
Thank you very much, Melissa. Just for your information, the name on the screen for me shows Nancy Callan, which is my married name that I don't use at the board, but somehow it would not let me change it today. So I wanted to say that up front so that I don't confuse people about who is speaking. Let me turn first to a couple of continuance requests. Item number 2 on our agenda, Duran LLC, last 4 digits of the docket 9589. The property address is 1515 North 15th Street. Is there someone here for this item?
No.
No. Did you have something you wanted to say about this one?
No, I was just saying this is a mutual request for continuance. I spoke with Petitioner yesterday and also today.
Please identify yourself for the record.
My name's Althea Udovanyang, attorney for the Philadelphia Water Department.
Okay, fine, thank you. So there's no objection from the city to going for this continuance request. I take it from what you've just said. Are there any questions from any board members about this, or do you concur in this continuance?
George Matthews, I concur with the continuance.
Paula Weiss, I concur.
And Nancy Cameradiner, I concur. We'll then turn to another continuance request. It's item number 5 from Dawn Deanne, last 4 digits of the docket 8182. The property address is 5108. This continuance request came in last week, and she has indicated in the cover letter for this that she's asking for the continuance due to the fact that she started a new job and is currently on probation and can't take time off at this particular point in time. So she's requested a continuance in order to come in at a time when she can adequately represent herself before the board. How does the city feel about this? Do you have any comments or any other information you wish to provide? You're on mute.
No objection.
No objection. Okay. Any questions or anything else from the other members of the board?
Paula Weiss, I concur with the continuance request.
George Matthews, I concur.
And Nancy Cameradiner, I concur as well. So that takes care of items 2 and 5. Item number 4 on the agenda from Agnes Manu, last 4 digits of the docket 7914 for 5512 Hadfield Street, had been continued earlier. And so it doesn't need action before the board today. It was already approved. That takes us to item number 1, which is from Victoria Sidham, last 4 digits of the docket 7970. Property address is 2329 Nicholas Street. I understand that she is in the office. So give us a moment till she's seated at the table.
Nancy, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. I'm going to put in case number 1.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Well, I've already announced it.
Great.
I just wanted to tell Mr. Seegers that you can be excused because case number 5, your case was continued. Welcome to stay, but you don't have to.
Oh, okay. Thank you. We've already passed through that one. So, but thank you for letting us know that that had been taken care of.
So I can be excused, you said?
You can.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
may.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
For case number 1, I believe the petitioner is in the room. Can you identify yourself for the record?
Victoria Stidham.
I was just going to ask that you come as close to the computer, which is where the mic is, as possible. And be sure when it's your turn to speak that you speak up so that we can hear you. Could you state your name again, please?
Victoria Stidham.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Who has this matter for the city?
Althea Udo Inyang for attorney for the Philadelphia Water Department. And if we could swear in Mr. White.
Okay, please identify yourself for the record.
Me.
Mr. White is on mute.
You're on mute. Can you unmute so that you can introduce yourself? No, you're still on mute. No, you are still on mute. Do you have a way to take it off mute?
He can try touching the bottom of his screen, or if the host can send him an ask to unmute comment.
Oh, now he took off his camera.
So he's touching something. So if he touches towards the bottom of the screen, it should activate those options.
Are you? I think you may have gotten it now. Please identify yourself for the record.
Roderick White, Philadelphia Water Department, plumbing inspector.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does the city have any opening comments before we turn to the petitioner?
I'm just going to advise the board that this involves a PWD help loan.
Say that again, please.
Water Department help loan.
Water Department help. Okay, thank you. Then let's turn to the petitioner. Please tell us why you're here and what it is you're looking for from this board.
Me now?
Yes, it is. So please tell us why you're here and what you're looking for from this board.
What happened was I had some work done because I had 5 days to get some work done, and it was a matter of 3 or 4 days for them to have my application for PHDC. PHDC came out and went in the ground and did the work because of the paperwork went through. Water department comes behind them, and when the water department came behind them, I'm thinking he's coming to inspect. And when he gave me the paper, not identifying what the paper was about, I'm thinking I'm signing the paper for the inspection that the PHDC was down in my ground and they were closing it up. While the inspector, I'm thinking he was the inspector because he didn't identify himself. Like, I'm thinking he came to check to make sure it was okay. When I signed that paper, they're saying I literally signed for a loan that the water department did the work, but the water department did not do the work. My PHDC thing went through within that matter of time. They were getting my paperwork ready for PHDC because I had to have it done right away. So now they're saying that I owe for that loan.
Do you have any documentation or evidence about the PHDC arrangement?
Well, no, I didn't bring the paperwork for the you mean the arrangement that they went down in the ground. I have paperwork. I didn't know what I was doing today up in here. I'm thinking that well, I knew I was coming here for that, but I don't have it. So old, it's been so long, I don't have the paperwork that I'm supposed to have. Then I tried to get the paperwork because I knew I needed that paperwork.
Right.
And I couldn't get the paperwork from PHDC to bring to you.
So you don't have any evidence of what you're talking about in terms of the arrangement with PHDC?
No, all I know is PHDC did my work. PHDC did the work on the ground.
And have you, under the arrangement with PHDC, have you been paying them?
Well, no, I didn't pay PHDC. I was eligible for PHDC to do work for me in my house.
And you were not going to be reimbursing them or paying them for the work that they were doing?
No, because when they came, they did the the plumbing, they did the plumbing, and they did quite a few things. But what happened was, I had an emergency. When the water department came, I told them I have an application in PHDC. I went to PHDC and my application was pulled. It really was lost, but then they found it. So they pulled it and they sent the people out to do the work right away. But when they went down in the ground to do the work right away, the water department is coming through. I'm thinking that he was the inspector, and here he's saying that I had to sign. And when I signed, now they telling me I signed for a loan, but a loan with PHDC did the work. So I'm trying to, I'm not.
Okay, but you don't have any evidence.
How do you know PHDC did the work and not the water
Because
department?
they identified themselves as far as going down in my ground when I was there.
All right, well, maybe we need to hear from the water department.
Okay, this is Inspector White. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, the day in
Mr. White,
question.
Mr. White,
Yeah.
Mr. White. So the way this works is Althea has to ask you the question. No,
Okay,
okay?
Okay,
Just remember,
okay.
you're answering Althea's questions, okay?
okay.
All right.
Okay, Mr. White, can you just state your name and your job title?
Roderick White, Master Plumber. My job title is Plumbing Inspector for Plumbing Repair Unit, Philadelphia Water.
And do you work under the help loan department for PWD?
Yes,
Okay, are you familiar with 2392 Nicholas Street?
329.
Are you
Well-
familiar with 2329 Nicholas Street?
kind of. It's been since 2019, so I'm looking at the paperwork now and it's starting to come back to me.
Okay, so I just want to show you, I've previously marked this as city exhibit,
it should be
Five.
exhibit 1.
sorry, city for 5. I'm just going to share my screen. Right, can you see what's marked case ID on the screen?
Yes,
All right, is this help loan documents for 2329 Nicholas Street?
yes.
Okay, I just want to scroll down to page number 5.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna scroll down to page 7 of 48. Are you familiar with this document?
Yes, I'm looking at it.
Okay, and is this your signature on the document?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just explain why Miss Stidham signed the help loan documents? What the
Well,
notice of defect was initially, please, and why she applied for a loan through PWD.
what I do when I go out to the homeowner, I have a badge on. I explain to them where we're from, and did you call PWD for a help loan? And usually the homeowner say yes. So then I write it out. I go in the basement, get a meter number because we make sure she has a water meter. I have that on the contract. Then I proceed to write the order up. And once I write the order up, I give her the price to let her see the price. And then it's up to her to sign the document if she wants the job done, because we don't force it on nobody. So she did sign the documents, quite a few of them. And then I proceeded to turn the documents in the next morning. And the office sent the plumber out. They notified the plumber and set a date when he would come out to the property.
Okay, and did you identify yourself as a Philadelphia Water Department employee?
Oh, yeah, because I'm in the car and everything. And I always wear my badge.
Thank you. And besides the paperwork that was signed, which identifies yourself as a PWD employee, can you think of anything else that would alert to her that she's working with PWD and not PHDC?
Well, PHDC, their truck is different. Okay, their truck is different. It just has a big P and an H and a D on it. So I can't understand why she would say the plumber's dug up and PHDC already did the work, because the plumber in question, when I got there, he was down in the job and it was an old line there. We did it from the street to the curb.
Okay. Are you familiar with PHDC approval at all?
I know PHCC approvals, I know from what I understand, their waiting time period is very long. Sometimes people gotta wait 2 to 6 months or sometime a year to get things done. Their policy is really different because the homeowners don't have to pay, and it's like a long list, waiting list.
Okay, so if this property owner was given the notice of defect in August of 2019, and PWD confirmed the repairs in November of 2019, a few months later, would you say that that is not with the PHDC process? The PhD process would take much longer than that?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay. I don't have any further questions for Mr. White.
Board members, do you have any questions for this witness?
No.
Was that a no from George?
Yes.
Okay. Paula, any questions?
No.
No. And at this point, I have no questions to ask. Is there anything else that the city has for their presentation?
Excuse me, I do have a question for
Okay.
Althea or for Mr. White. Are there any photos of the work that was done by PWD, of the guys out there, of the hole in the ground, of any of the work in progress?
Well, that would be in 2019. I would have to have Derek try to pull that up, but that's been a while ago. It's like almost 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come across any in the law file, but I could do a deeper search if you would like.
What I can do, the plumber in question, Barty Manuel, he also takes pictures, and I can contact him and see if he has a photo of that job.
Okay. We'll come back to you if after our further conversations about this, we want to get that. Or would you be able to get that quickly today to have it shown?
No.
No, that's what I figured. Okay.
Nancy, can we come back to Ms. Stidman for a moment?
Sure.
Ms. Stidman, you did say that you signed something
Yes,
when that day.
yes.
Could you look at the screen and see what the city has put up there with regard to the pricing and the costs, and it has your signature at the bottom? Do you recall looking at that document that had pricing for what was going to be done?
I did that before the work was done in the ground.
And what did you think that document was?
But that was in case, because they told me that that a loan would be passed and go through for me if they had not if PHDC hadn't got it done before they got there. It's just a matter of days and time. It was simply a mistake. I mean, the timing that the PHDC did it, then here comes the water department, but PHDC is down in the ground doing it, did it. And now here comes the water department. And I'm thinking that he came to inspector. I saw an inspector. And I'm thinking he came to inspect the job for the ground to be closed up. So if PHDC did my work, I can't. And then if I sign the paper, if I signed the wrong paper because I was led in my head to sign that paper. And I'm thinking I'm signing the paper that the inspection to the work got done. $2,000 is a lot of money for me to just simply say, it could have been my mistake. But you have to identify yourself to senior citizens. You have to do something not extra or special. With a senior citizen, when you panic with your ground bust open, and I know I was eligible for PHDC, they lost my application when this thing went through, and they literally found it immediately. So that's how PHDC got down in that ground. But he came and told
When
me.
when did you put in your application for PHDC?
It was over about a year ago or more.
Well, this was work done in 2000.
I have been put it in.
2019, according to this.
But I'm talking about a year ago since before they did the work. So then that's when I went to question, well, where's my application that I put in for PHDC? They find it. And because they find it and the work had to be done right away, they came right out there and did it. And they didn't just do that, they did a couple of other things.
All right. Well, Ms. Stidman, we would need to see the paperwork, the PHDC paperwork,
And
because,
that's what I can't get. PhDC
Right.
will not read the paperwork to me.
I mean, we need to know exactly what they did, when they did it, to be
Right.
able to compare with the city's documents that are here and the testimony from Mr. White that he was on the site, handed you these documents and that the city.
I'm just like Mr. White, it's been so long and I went to the PhDC to get the paperwork to bring here. I went to get it and I can't get it.
Didn't you realize you were coming into a hearing
Not
today
just
and you
for
needed to
today,
have
not just for
documentation with
today.
you?
I'm not just doing that for the day. I've been here 2 times before. I've been trying to get the paperwork. I knew where I was coming today. If they not giving me the paperwork, I wouldn't know where to get that paperwork from. I know they was down in my ground and they did the work. So because they did the work, I'm still struggling with, well, why do I have to pay the water department if PhDC did the work? And it's listed at PhDC that the work was done. Why can't I?
But we don't have that information.
Right, but why can't I get it? I mean, what do I do to get that paperwork from PhDC?
I can't give you.
That's where I'm at right now. Where do I go to get the paperwork for the city doing some work down in my ground? Where do I go to get the paperwork if I went to PhDC to get it? And this is really sad. Because
What did they tell you when you went to PHDC to get the information?
First of all, it's been Corona for 2 years, so we really all up in that. So I went to PhDC before Corona and I went to PhDC after Corona because I knew I had to come back in here. And what they're saying is it was a man that was working with, see, my daughters used to being with me because when I came here the last 2 times before, she was with me. She's calling and talking to the man. He's telling her about the paperwork that he didn't get it or he don't have it. It's been so long. And it's a record somewhere. It's a record somewhere. And it was the vent stack that was done. It was the vent stack now.
Well, I'm sorry, what was done?
The vent stack down in the ground, the vent stack, they went down in the ground and repaired the vent stack.
I don't know exactly what that
Okay.
is.
I don't know what that is
The
either.
question would be whether or not the water department did something different.
The water
And
department didn't have no reason to do anything. PhDC did it.
But we don't know that.
But then where do I get the paperwork if I'm working with the city as far as trying to get my paperwork? Whose time, where's my paperwork? They didn't give me the paperwork. They just gave me the paperwork as far as what needed to be done. Now the
Who
paperwork
gave you
is,
the paperwork? Who gave you the paperwork as to what needed to be
you
done?
know, like you call the water department to come out and they
The
check.
water department
When,
gave you had an application that you put in to PHDC
right.
and they didn't give you anything in return when they
No, because
approved.
because they forwarded the paperwork from the water department to PhDC because I was eligible for PhDC to do the job. That's how PhDC got it. They got it from the water department to do what? And what?
Mr. Inyang, is that a process you're familiar
And
with?
it's not a process, but it could be possible that if Miss Sidham is saying a vent pipe, we provided her a notice of defect for a leak on the water pipe. So the vent stack is for the lateral that carries the, the dirty water out, but this was for the water supply pipe. So maybe a year prior, PhDC did something, but then she had a notice of defect for the leak on the water pipe, which is what the loan she applied for to have that fixed.
So it's possible PhDC did something different. That was
Correct, but our records wouldn't show anything from
They did more
PhDC.
than one thing down in that ground. They did more than one thing down in that ground. They did. Now that they did more than one thing down in the ground. And PhD went down in the ground. And then you know what, the weight is left on I gotta say me, as far as PhDC working with the city and the water. I'm trying to figure out where the mix-up is coming in other than me signing. And I'm thinking I'm signing and inspecting, it's being inspected. If I had known that I was going to do all the, see, a senior citizen, you can't just expect them to know the pipes, know the difference in who's who and what's what. Now, I'm not jumping on that for no reason at all. I'm trying to tell you that nobody's explaining nothing, but then they put the weight on you like that, knowing that they didn't do it. I mean, that's it's a mistake. It's a serious mistake. As far as I'm concerned, through the water department, gotta identify yourself as far as what you're doing and getting that paper signed.
Mr. White, were you at the property when the work was actually being done?
Yes, I go back to the property. The workers would always be certified, me and LNI, but in this case, anywhere between the main to the curb, we inspect it.
So you were
And
back,
I go back when the plumber calls me and tell me he's ready.
Did you see the petitioner when you were there inspecting? Did you have any contact with the petitioner who's there on the screen that you can see her face? I don't know whether that helps you in terms of remembering.
Probably so, probably so. I'm not sure. Probably
Okay.
so.
Okay. I just thought maybe seeing her would help to give you an opportunity to confirm
she
or
looked-
say that
yeah,
she
she
didn't.
looked-
know from the-
She looks a little familiar.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else that the city wants to add for our information here?
Yes, I did just want to say I pulled, because I tried to do the research for PHDC as well, and I pulled permits for this property, and the only plumbing permit I could find was the one that for the work that PWD did. I didn't see any permits, plumbing permits on this property. I did mark that and submit those as exhibits as well.
But what work did what work did the water department do?
They fixed the leak on your water supply pipe.
Inside the house?
No, this was outside.
Well, when did the water department do anything on my ground?
All right, so let me see. I have other, it's all in the help loan documents as well. Let me just pull that back up.
Because
And
I don't remember the water.
Leanne, could you put on the record the
Oh.
chronology for all of us? When was the defect noted? When was there a notification of the defect? When was the
Absolutely.
repair done? When was the billing done?
All right, so this one is City Exhibit 3. These are just all the work orders. So if you can see, on August 22nd of 2019, Ms. Tidham called the water department. She reported that she had a leak. Okay. Then if you see on page 2, this is page 2. Oh, sorry, this is still page 1. They went and they did an inspection.
I'm sorry, what date was that?
This date was August 22nd of 2019.
Right.
They did an inspection to find out where the leak was coming from. They did the dye test. Let's see, they found water in the cellar in Miss Tidham's basement and also at her neighbor's. And at that time, they served a notice. I'm looking at the bottom. They served a notice for the leak to 2829 on August 22nd. I did submit the leak. I'm sorry, the notice of defect. The next work order was on November 12th of 2019. They did a final inspection. They found repairs made with a permit in the system. So I submitted those as exhibits as well.
When was
So
the
that
work done? There's nothing there that says when was PWD out to do the work?
That would be in the help loan documents. So
That would be where? I'm sorry, say it again.
in the help loan documents, this is City Exhibit 5. Let me just get those dates for you.
Yeah, I don't remember the water department in my ground at all, because nobody never had been in my ground until they came out.
Hold on one second. This is 48 pages of documents.
Actually, I'm sorry, can you go back a page?
Sure.
One more. Oh, no, keep on going. I'm sorry. There was a page that said that they opened up the letter. Here, what is this?
This is just another copy of the PWD permits.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
but it's got the street opening.
This was issued on September 12th of 2019. But there is a document with the-
October 12th, I think it was.
Yep.
It was October, not September. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, date issued. That was the expiration date that came up. My apologies.
Oh, no worries. So, and then, but there's a notice from the plumber. Let's see, this is just more signatures. Sorry, please bear with me.
So she signed 2 documents?
There's about 7 pages of documents that are signed here by both Mr. White and the homeowner. Okay, so this is the final inspection.
And you know, when they told me that my application went through, I called the
Okay.
legal department and told them that the application went through. So the PHDC application went through. I was grateful for that.
So this is on page 20 of 48. This is a final inspection request where the plumber, Bart Emanuel, contacts PWD. This is September 23rd, 2019, and he requests for a final inspection. And the final inspection, Mr. White, do you know what the final inspection report?
The 24th. The
Okay,
24th.
So
Of
Mr.
which
White is
month?
saying the 24th is when the work was completed.
Of September?
September 24th,
correct.
2019.
Okay, just verifying the month there.
Thank you. So the work was completed September 24th of 2019.
Yes, and for their and the job was written up September the 5th. I think where's that paper? I had it. Let me see. Hold on. 15. Yeah, the job was written up September the 5th.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from board members?
Yeah, I have a question to the petitioner. Do you have any kind of documentation from the PHDC, or do you know the person's name you were dealing with, or some kind of information from PHDC, please?
That's what you're talking to me now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what my daughter was called the man. My daughter's this was going on so long. My daughter's very familiar with the man that's working in PHDC. He tried to get the information to give it to me and my daughter. He did not have and didn't give me no information. But when PHDC was down in my ground and did my work, and my mind is settling on why, like what?
Do you know when that was happening? I'm just wondering what the date or timing was in relationship to what the city has testified to.
I can only go by the dates and stuff that I'm looking right here. I don't even know I don't mind going as long as I have to go to get the paperwork from PHDC. I don't understand why they can't just release the paperwork when it's the city and the city anyway. How do I get that paperwork when they did the job?
Does the board want to go back to?
Where am I at?
Yes, I think we're ready to go back and discuss.
Yeah, please, let's go to the chat room, please.
Okay, if everyone can just stay put, the board is going to go into the back room virtually to discuss the matter.
Me?
No, you just stay right there. Nancy, everyone's back and you're still on mute.
On mute.
Not
I'm on
you,
mute.
Mr. White. I'm
Okay.
talking to you.
Okay, thank you. The board's discussed the situation, and it's our decision at this point to continue the matter for 30 days. There are things we would like to have from both sides. The city indicated that there were photos that would help to substantiate things, but you didn't have them with you today. So in that 30-day period, if you can produce those photographs or provide other information regarding those photographs, that would be appreciated. For the petitioner, we are going to request that during that 30-day period, you make another effort to get any documentation from PHDC that would support and verify what you're telling us about how you believe that work that was done on your property was done by PHDC. In both cases, for the city and for the petitioner, we ask that you get the material to the tax review board in the offices no later than 30 days from today, so that the board can review whatever you've provided and make a final decision. We won't necessarily ask to have you come in for any other testimony unless the information that's provided indicates that we do need to have additional information from the parties. We could reach a decision and promulgate that decision after we review all of the documentation.
And Nancy, one more thing. Althea, just to complete the record before we close, could you please put on the record the actual amount due and owing and whether payments have been made going towards that amount?
And Althea, you're on mute as well.
Okay, the principal, $2,812.45. There was no interest, there's no lien amounts for the total. I believe there were a few payments. Just let me, 1 second. I believe I did open up or have basis.
Well, if you could document that for us, if you don't have it right there now, to put it on the record verbally.
I do. So the initial loan amount was $2,877.50. Her payments should have been $15 a month. There was one payment of $43.81 on December 10th of 2021.
Oh, okay, fine, thank you. But if you have anything else that would supplement that, it could be submitted when you submit the photographs or any other information.
So you need me to go to
No, I thought it was,
PHDC.
yeah, I was just going to say, I thought it was PHDC, not PHA. If you, anything that you can provide, whether you already have it or you have to go and get it, any additional documentation about what you've been telling us about how you thought it was PHDC and not the water department that was doing your work.
Okay.
And submit that to the offices where you are now, either by mail or by dropping it off within 30 days.
Okay.
And just the tax review board, the work is done by a PWD contractor, someone that hires out. So I'm going to submit the pictures from them, but it wouldn't be a PWD employee that actually does the work. It's a contractor that PWD hires to do the work, but I'm going to submit it.
If what you submit contains that information about who that outside contractor was who was hired by the water department, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
Because that'll document for us further what the situation was.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So
And Nancy, I concur in that continuance. Paula Weiss.
George Matthews, I concur.
Okay, and Nancy Cameron, I concur as well. So that'll conclude what we do today. We'll give everyone 30 days to submit the information we've requested, and then the board will meet to come to a decision. If necessary, we would call people back, but I think that we'll be able to do this without having to call you back for another hearing.
all right.
Thank you very much for coming in today.
That's okay. Thank you.
Ew.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you too, Mr. White.
All right.
All right, thank
Thank you.
All right, Nancy, this is case number 3.
Okay, fine, thank you. The next matter on our agenda, case number 3, is for Fast Track Management Group. Last 4 digits of the docket, 9594. The property address is 2427 North Patton Street. Please identify yourself for the record.
My name is Van McNill.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
I do.
Okay, I'll just ask that as you testify in a few minutes, that you stay as close to the microphone, which is at the computer, as you can. Who has this matter for the city?
Good afternoon, Althea Udo Inyang, attorney for the Philadelphia Water Department, and my witness, Mr. Bernberg.
Your
Henry,
witness
can you
again?
appear on camera and unmute?
Hello,
Please identify yourself for the record.
Henry Bernberg.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth with everything that comes before the board?
I do.
Okay, and if you would just add what your position is.
I'm the supervisor for the stormwater billing unit at the Philadelphia Water Department.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other identifying information that you're providing or someone else providing information on the dollar amount and or what the things are that we're looking at?
Sure, I'll provide that. These are stormwater charges from March of 2015 until April of 2022. The principal is $1,098.10. There's no penalties, no lien fees, for a total of $1,098.10.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other opening comments or should we be turning to the petitioner?
I'm
Petitioner,
sorry.
Just to be
Althea,
clear,
what-
it's stormwater only?
stormwater only,
And it was 3/15 to 4 of what?
2022.
Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so the city doesn't have anything else to add at this point. We'll be turning to the petitioner. Is that correct?
Yes, please.
Okay, then if you could, please tell us why you're here and what it is you're looking for from this board.
Okay, I'm here to dispute the stormwater fee from the date that was mentioned, sometime in 2015 until just close to present, a few months ago. And I'm looking to have that entire previous bill erased.
And why? Can you give us more information about the circumstances and why you feel that this should not be a charge against you or your entity?
Sure. So I just did 10 years with the Philadelphia Water Department, and I'm 5 years of license and inspection. So I brought a property from the lot, I want to say in 2015. Everything was supposed to be free and clear. I didn't understand exactly how that worked with the stormwater, though I do have a primary resident and a few other properties in which all the water bills are paid. I don't think I ever had an issue with the water department, but just to cut real quick, they sent me out a note, and they never sent me a bill for the lot. So I was under the impression that it didn't get a bill. They sent me a past due reminder out 4 years later for $400, in which I got in contact with them down at the MSB to try to find out what was going on. I was directed by one of the clerks and a supervisor that this was an internal issue and that I had nothing, there was nothing that I can do or had to worry about. 2 years later, from that day, I got a new bill. It doubled. This is the first time it actually came in a bill form, but it doesn't have all the information as your normal bill. So I went back down, and I think shortly after that, I filed an appeal to come down and speak to the tax review board. We tried to get down here in May. It got canceled. We got back down here, I want to say in September. The water department didn't bring a bill. It didn't bring any evidence. And somehow when we left that day, the bill was allowed to stay. I'm not sure if these are recorded, but if it is, it would be the hearing right before this. So I go.
Was that before just one person, a master?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That one was not recorded.
Okay.
This is recorded though.
Okay. Thank you. So I put in an appeal. I had 30 days, right? I got this letter from the board. I got the envelope and stuff. October 4th, they stamped it as the mail-in date. October 29th, they sent it out. So I'm running around with 5 days on my 30 days to file the appeal, but I was able to get it done. Next day air, mail and things like that. So that I got a letter on December the 7th 21 stating that the appeal was accepted. And so I was waiting on a date like the letter stated. Sometime in March, the water department reached out and sent a new bill. Now it's at $1,235.01. Shortly after that, a few days later, still in March, they sent out a new bill. It is now $1,248.47. Shortly after that, I got a bill from collection, which matches everything else. And now I'm in collections. I spoke to them and they told me that the board would normally send them something stating that they approved me and they didn't receive it. So now I'm stuck in collections. I contacted them and I'm getting nowhere. But before I came in today, some of the things that I had said at the last hearing was that my lot size in the impervious area, I read the bill on how it was supposed to charge me, and that's where my information was always coming from. I have a current bill with me and I have one of the older ones here. And when it speaks of the lot, it states that they have to measure the size and the impervious area, and they'll add all of that up. They'll come up with some calculations and they'll give you a final bill. Well, I did that. My numbers didn't match. They never showed me a bill, so I didn't actually see what they were charging me. I only seen the lumps, but they never actually did that for me. In the impervious area, since the last hearing, is still wrong. And they told me at that hearing that it didn't matter. So I'm a little confused because that's part of the calculation on how they generate the bill. This is all off of their website and off of their bill that I'm stating. So my account number was changed in April. The last number, 001, let's just say that it says account number on the bill, but the last three numbers are 001. That's the one that had that main bill I owe. I didn't pay attention to that, but they sent a new bill out as if everything was wiped off and I owed them $13.47. I paid it, but then I recognized that account number is different at the end. So I paid this bill a few months and they kept saying they didn't receive it, they didn't receive it. Finally, they gave me a credit for $57. And now they're deducting the credit to catch me up with the day they sent that first bill on that new account. And then shortly after that, I received something with the old account number on it, and they're stating that they still want that money. So the attorney called me yesterday, I believe it was, and when she did the math, her numbers that she just gave were closer to the numbers that I had that I would have owed them, but still different than the ones that they sent me. So none of these numbers are still right. When I go on their website now, they state it's been corrected on the website now, but still not on the bill. It states if your payments are so low on the lot that you would now have to pay a new minimum, which is way more than what it would be if you just added it up. Now, I'm not sure if that's law or not. I'm a little confused on how they're able to charge me more than what I actually owe the city. And it's actually more for the empty lot with 0 areas and no connection to the city stormwater system, which I know for a fact, being worked there and dealt with this, than my residential property pay, which has the entire roof, the entire stormwater system and everything else. I now pay more for the lot than a residential area, only off of that wording that they just changed, only on the website, still not on none of the bills. I've lost 3 days of work coming down here. I'm next day air and mail. My billing, being a city inspector, I'm at almost $280 a day. It's close to $1,000 in itself, and that's why I was looking to have it erased, first corrected, and then erased. And when you look into the bill where it says how they add up the area on the stormwater, all the way back to the first day that they were supposed to start charging me, has always been charged wrong, which is why I always question when they go back and try to charge me that fee. Those are the problems that I've been having. I still don't have a correct bill. When you go on a new website and pull up that address, the new account number they gave me 2 months ago go back to 2010. And I'm not saying that it affects nothing at this moment, but if I ever do have to take this further, I'm not exactly sure on what all that's going to do with all this confusion in their system.
You probably said it along the way, but when did you acquire this property?
I got it at the auction and I bid on it December 14. I think I actually paid for it and it was deeded over to me on February of
December 14 of what year?
No, I'm sorry. December of 2014 is when I bid on it. When it finally changed over in the records, I believe it was February 2015.
Mr. Mingo, when you say auction and bid, you're talking the city's sheriff sale?
Yes,
Or you
ma'am.
talk- Okay. Thank you.
And then you actually acquired it, you said it was February of 15.
Yes.
Let's turn to the city and perhaps you can give us some information on this that will help us to understand better what's been going on, at least from the city's perspective with regard to this property and the stormwater situation.
Mr. Bernberg, can you take your mic off mute, please?
Yep.
Okay, what type of property is this? And I pre-marked a city exhibit 2, which is just the stormwater billing. If you can just explain to the board what kind of property this is, please.
So this is a non-residential parcel. We bill stormwater based on whether a parcel is residential or non-residential. Residential is billed at a flat rate. Non-residential is billed based off of the total square footage and the amount of impervious area, but there is a minimum charge for non-residential parcels.
And what's the minimum charge for non-residential parcels?
The current minimum charge is $17.40 per month.
Okay, and has this received a minimum charge since 2015?
Yes.
Okay, so even if the gross area were more the impervious area, the lowest that this could be billed is the minimum charge?
Correct.
Okay, and let me see. This property currently has a balance of $1,098.10. Do these charges represent stormwater from March of 2015 until about April of 2022?
Yes.
Okay, now there are about 4 major unpaid bills on this account. Before I get to that, I would like to discuss the balance transfer. In April of 2015, there was a balance transfer of $179.26. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and was that amount corrected, if you know?
Yeah, it looks like that was the outstanding balance from prior to the sheriff's sale. That's usually wiped out when that is sold, so it's free and clear. It does look like that covered a slightly longer time period, but the Water Revenue Bureau did remove about $150 of that balance, as well as waiving about $40 in penalties.
Okay, which brought the balance down to $1,098.10 that I just stated, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so now after that balance transfer, there was a November 7th balance of $383.45. Can you just tell the board what that amount represents?
Are you referring to the November 7th, 2017 bill?
Correct.
So that covers the stormwater charges from the last bill date of August 2015 through November 2017 at the minimum charge.
Okay. And after that 2017,
And what
there
was
was
the amount of that? What was the amount of that first bill in 20, was that the first bill that was generated after April of 2015?
No. No, there were a few bills in between the balance transfer and that November 2017 bill.
And where were they sent?
I do not have that information.
I can pull that up for you. And I didn't bring that up because those bills were paid, but I can get the address if you would like.
Okay, I just want to know if they were, to whom they were, whether that deed transfer was acknowledged and current petitioner received those bills, or they were mailed to the current petitioner.
Correct. They were mailed to the current petitioner. And he did pay the bill before this one.
And that again was in November of 17. The bill date,
Actually, hold
I don't know when it was paid.
So the November 17th bill was unpaid, but there was a bill in August of 2015. That amount was, I'm sorry, September 8th, 2015. That amount was $240, and that was paid. And then after that, there was a November 7th, 2017 unpaid balance for $383.45 that went unpaid. And I'm just gonna get the address, please, if you would like. log into basis. 1 second.
While she's checking for that, if I could ask the petitioner a question, is there anything at all on this property or is it completely vacant land?
It's completely vacant land with two vacant lots on adjoining sides, both sides.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought it was, but with the shadowing, it was hard to tell in this picture.
Right.
Is the city finding what you're looking for?
Yes. Hold on 1 second. Let me just share this screen. Share. This is a February 12th of 2020 bill. I couldn't pull the one up from November 7th of 2017. As I said, that one wasn't paid, but the first one was paid. And this is going to 2612 South Franklin Street.
Is that an appropriate address for you? I'm referring to the petitioner.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did you receive this bill or do you remember this bill?
No, I did not. I don't see my address on there, but I did not get that bill. The first bill I got, I'm holding here, it was for the, is that 824? It was for the 824.38 with $163 underneath. I'm sorry, I didn't, the same bill, but it has a little bit, it has different numbers closer to the bottom that shows you an extra $163. But this is the first bill that I ever received. And I don't think that, it doesn't have that date on there. Mine says December 24, 2020. There it says February 12, 2020. I've never seen that bill.
So, Mr. McNeil, did you make any payments to the water department?
No.
before
When this is what I'm saying. I've never got a bill. I just got that blue paper that said I had to come see them in 19 when they told me I didn't have anything to do. It was up to them. And then when I received this bill, that's when I went back down there and actually on my writing on the bill, and I believe the attorney sent me a copy. She has my original, when I sent it, the date that I called to dispute it at 1:59 p.m. and also when I filed for the tax review board.
And so you're disputing her, the testimony that a bill was paid in September of 2015?
Yes, I am.
$40?
Yes, when we go through this, somewhere in there, I believe they think that's the sheriff clearing bills or something like that. This is the only bill I got, the first one I got, and I have, until they changed my account number, never paid anything to that particular account.
When you purchased the property from sheriff's sale, do you have a record of what that first transfer was, the date and what the account number was for the property?
I do.
Because I was wondering if you could compare that to the date that shows up on the bill that was shown by the city that was on the screen to see whether the account numbers were indeed the same. Because you were mentioning different account numbers or some other things. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. The bill that she just showed you with that balance, or anyone that's going to bring that balance moving forward, the last three numbers on that account number is 001. The bills that they have been sending me since I want to say about 2 months ago, and now has 002. Those are the ones I've been paying moving forward, while we still dispute the ones on that old bill moving backwards. But the sheriff letter I got December 17, 14 is when I bid. January 7th is when I fully paid them off. And it says right here, when they give you the little thing or the e-records was February 17, 2015, at 9:49 p.m. when they gave me this. There was never a
So,
water.
Mr. McNeil, let me ask you a question. Are you disputing that you should have to pay a stormwater charge on this property? Or are you disputing the amount per month that they're billing for this
I'm
property?
disputing the amount per month that they're billing and the way that they're billing according to their website and their bill, which told you all the way up until they just changed the website.
All right, well, the testimony from the city's witness is that you are being billed the minimum amount the city bills for stormwater, that it doesn't go any lower on a non-residential property. And that's been true since April of 2015, which is when you completed the bid, didn't take final ownership till the deed was filed. But so I'm not quite sure what you're asking us to do.
Because the way that the bill in the website explains you how they would charge you for that never spoke of that minimum payment that they're saying now. That's what the website say now. If your bill and I feel like once we got through this and they seen what it was, once they realized, all right, we have to put something there to cover that, it's a flat rate. That flat rate is more than the average residential flat rate right now.
Well, they've already explained non-residential and residential properties are different and are looked at different and are billed different.
Okay.
So
This isn't a residential property, right?
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's not a residential, it's zoned for residential. But so the lot, and this is my thinking and having experience there and being unclear where I need it up. The lot is not connected to the stormwater system or the distribution system. I know.
That is not a requirement for stormwater billing.
But you're charging me more than a residential property that uses the system. You're charging. me
Well, where
more
does the rain, well, so when it rains onto your property, where does it go?
into the ground. It grows. I get the grass cut twice a month. If it goes,
None of it runs.
If it won't run off the dirt into the street. That's where the impervious part comes in, that they want to catch any slick surfaces that would then carry it to the street, which would carry it to their system. When you just have a lot, that's why it's so minimal to bill. And now to say, my bill is so small that we're going to charge you a flat rate of way higher than what you owe us. I just don't see that as being possible, to make me pay more than what I truly owe you because you won't accept nothing under your flat rate. That's the problem I truly have.
City, you want to respond?
Mr. Bernberg, can you respond to that?
There's always been a minimum charge for non-residential stormwater since the parcel-based billing program began on September 1st, 2010. I'm not sure what changes you are referring to on the website. I think the only significant changes on the public parcel viewer that have been made was a disclaimer letting people know that the boundaries are only for stormwater billing purposes and should not be used for other reference. Otherwise we've added some clarifications to try to make it easier to understand, but it's always been listed there that there is a minimum non-residential stormwater charge.
Does it make a difference with a non-residential property if it's an area that is zoned for residential? It's just that there's nothing that's been built on it, or is it still at a higher amount than it would be if there was some construction on that parcel?
We use the current land use, not the zoning.
Is there anything else that anybody wants to share at the moment before the board discusses this?
I do. I just have one question, only because I couldn't find that flat fee on the old website, and it's still not on the old bill or the new bill. Where would I locate that at, just as a customer looking to what I have to pay? I mean, I see it on the new website now, but where would I have located that before they just changed that site on the bill, or how would I have known that that was a flat fee?
These are in PWD regulations, rates and charges.
Which are available online, I believe.
They are correct. And I believe they have all the rates and charges going back for a while.
Are you bringing that up?
Sure, I can. Just 1 second. Hold on. I'll share my screen how I usually find it. Just Google PWD regulations. Can everyone see the screen right now?
Not yet. We see you.
No, we just, it's not yet.
Hold on, I'm not doing it right. One sec. All right, can you see the PWD regulations?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so I just Googled PWD regulations and then it brings us to here and then the rates and charges. Hold on 1 second. I'm not the best. Okay, so you see regulations and you see rates. And then you have view current rates and charges. Usually I just do a control find. And you can type in stormwater. And let me just, Henry, if you know an easier way, because I'm not really good at these calculations, but here we go. Stormwater management on page 8 of 74. Residential properties, non-residential properties. Here in section 4.3, it should explain.
You just scrolled right past it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is this what we're looking at, Henry?
Minimum monthly
Yep,
charges.
yeah, 6 minimum monthly charge.
Okay. So Mr. McNeil, this is where you would find the rates and charges.
Right. The only problem I have is we see the date. It says September 2021. And at the top of the page, when you clicked on it, it says revision. And I believe it was like a month or two ago. This was, I'm trying to find, where was this at the time that they want to go back and get the bill that I would have been able to notice? I can see it moving forward. This is why I pay it moving forward. But this is why I want the old bill erased. There's so much going on, there was so much confusion and so much error on their part that I just believe coming down here and doing all the things I do, it still costs me. Now, in the end, we'll probably get what you're asking for, but I still have to pay everything else leading up to this. Where is the fairness in that when this was their error from the start? You can see that I wasn't given a bill from the day I brought this property leading up until we're sitting here today. You do have one that I didn't see, and you have one that reflect one that looked like it was only a month or two of the first one I got from you. Just a little bit lost, and sometimes it's a little discouraging, but I'm just trying to present to you what I had and why I felt the way I did and why I did what I did. I have an investment property, a primary, all my bills you can check. I ran you my personal address yesterday. Everything is paid. This is the only bill that I dispute with the city, even paying school loans while it's in forbearance. So it's not a money issue. It's just an understanding issue. And I was missing that. I still don't see where you can go back and show me this information before 21 and the dates that I'm saying it changed.
So would you like, I'm sorry, are you requesting the rates and charges from February of 2015 when you bought the property?
Yes, something that I can see from back then, which I won't have a problem, but I would like it still to get the numbers a little bit corrected, like you said, and not with the bill that they sent me said, because we discussed also that was also different.
Okay, I know we have them and I can get them to you. I don't know if the 2015 rates and charges are on the website, but I would be more than happy to send you everything from 2015 until current.
I think that would help. That would prove that, you know, I am wrong and I need to pay that.
So if the city can go back and provide documentation that shows what the rates and charges were for a property like this in all of the time periods from when the petitioner acquired it, could you provide that to the petitioner and also to the board?
Absolutely, yes.
And then with that information, if we wouldn't necessarily have to meet again. I'm just proposing, kind of talking out loud now, but if we had that information, the petitioner had that information, and if after reviewing it, he agreed that he understood and was willing to pay on what was there, we wouldn't need to do anything more other than accept it. but I don't know whether there's anything else I'm leaving out in that. That's why I wanted to say it out loud and then get feedback from particularly the petitioner, but also from the city in terms of whether or not we could do something like this in the background in order to finalize the arrangement.
I could email them to the tax review board and also to Mr. McNeil. I sent some emails before, so I can.
Okay. And I guess should the board step aside and kind of lay out the parameters on this, or can we do it without stepping aside?
Let's step aside for a minute.
Okay.
Everyone just can stay put. Thank you.
Mr. McNeil, this is the court reporter. I have the spelling of your name as V-A-N. Your last name is M-C-N-E-A-L. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. And I appreciate the attorney for providing that too.
Just waiting for Nancy and Paula to get back. Okay, Nancy, everyone's back.
Okay, thank you. The board's reviewed this, and we're going to ask to take this under advisement for the city to give both the board and the petitioner a recalculation of any and all amounts that were required to be paid over the years from when the petitioner acquired the property, expecting that there have been a couple of different changes in dollar amounts that would accrue to it, and to have the verification of what would be due and owing for each of those time periods for a property that was not developed. And hopefully that will provide enough verification both for the board and for the petitioner to understand how the charges in those time periods would have been developed. I think there was one other thing I was to mention, and I would ask that the board members chime in on something else that we were going to add here. Or did I cover it?
I think you covered it.
I
What
think
we're
you covered
looking for is confirmation from the city that the bill has been calculated correctly, keeping in mind each year's charges and whatever changes may have occurred from year to year.
Okay, that's a restatement of what I was saying, much more clear than the way I put it. And we would ask to have that as soon as it's possible, but definitely within 30 days. And we'll review the information, and I would also allow time for the petitioner to raise any questions, but I would expect that we would confirm our decision as soon as we can after receiving that documentation. Any questions? You'll get a letter from us that spells out our decision, and you'll also get the letter from the city that confirms the data.
And this is Paula Weiss. I concur with that decision.
George Matthews, I concur with that.
And Nancy Camerodiner, I concur.
I just have one question. Can I get the board to take under advisement that if they found that the water department contributed to any of this leading up to us today, can they at least be responsible for some of that payment?
We will take into account actually all the information you gave us today. Yes, we will consider it, all of your testimony.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for coming in today. And unless anyone knows of any other items, this is the last item on our agenda, and this hearing is adjourned.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.